Can the Phoenix Suns make the play-ins? We are in a dire situation currently. We won last night against the Kings. Obviously, a few days ago we lost against the Grizzlies. But within these last 2 weeks since I last made a video, lost to the Raptors, lost to the Pelicans. It's kind of derailed our season. We started off the season very well, thinking that, you know what, we could be a top 4, top 5 seed going on that 8-1 run before the All-Star break, when Booker had like 10, 25 to 30 point games in a row. We thought, alright, cool, maybe we are back. Then we got a few injuries and it's been a poor run of form. But luckily, teams around us have dropped, teams around us have injuries, and the Mavs, who are currently the 10th seed, they are most likely going to drop and we are going to get that 10th seed. But let's discuss games against the Grizzlies, games against the Kings, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, Ryan Dunn, and also Iguodala Bud, and the verdict of the season. But let's start against that game against the Grizzlies. A poor game, we were up by 16. We should have won that. After being up by 16, we go into a mode where we just keep the lead to 10, to 8. We don't let them cut it. But we know how the Suns are, and the Grizzlies starting to hit their shots, Defensively, we were poor. We were leaving shooters open, leaving people open, and it was a concern that we let a 16-point lead go down, and we lost at the end to, I think, by about 2 points. So there are problems, and a lot of it comes down to the players on the court, but also Bud. And a coach's job at the end of the day in any sport, whether it's basketball, whether it's football, whether it's American football, whether it's rugby, whatever you say in a team sport, the coach's job is to get the best out of the players he has at hand. And right now, Mike Budenholzer is not doing that. The game against the Grizzlies, we had a 16-point lead. KD was frying them guys, to put it simply. Then you go into, I believe, the second quarter, and Kevin Durant didn't even get a single shot. In the first quarter, I think he had about 16 points, I think 13 points. He had something crazy. Then we don't create plays to get our best player on the ball, to get our best player shooting. And then after, when he did get the ball, he ended up getting cold, and he did had a few misses. But, when we're up, and when we're up by quite a bit, we have to build on those leads. And I've touched on it before, the Suns can never win by a big margin, or the Suns can never build on their margins, because they don't have that killer mindset. They think in their head they're a lot better than they actually are. And a lot of it does come down to the role players, The role players don't hustle hard on defense. The role players don't close out on the perimeter. The role players leave shooters open. And obviously some of that is because of Bud's defensive schemes, because we've seen a lot of times when we leave shooters open, or we leave non-shooters open sometimes. And when you leave non-shooters open, at the end of the day, this is the NBA, and when one player hits a free, they get that confidence, and after they hit another one, and after they're like, oh cool, so they're leaving me open and I've just hit 2 threes in a row, let me shoot another one. And yes, it might not go in, but it's concerning that we constantly leave non-shooters open. And after, that's why bums like Cam Spencer, who I didn't hear of before that game, they get 16 points, they get a career high, and they're trash talking KD, because Bud's defensive scheme is that he leaves people open on the perimeter. And I get when you want to double Jar, because Jar obviously did have a very good game, but after, when you do double him, you have to hustle hard on the pass that he makes. The role players, or the players that aren't guarding Jar, they have to close out that next player, and after the next player if he swings it again, and after, that's how you have a good defensive team. And obviously the players on the court, they don't have the energy, or they may not be the best defenders, but what you can do is at least close out. What you can do is at least put an arm in front of their face and be like, alright, cool, shoot over me. You're not going to get an open look, you're not going to get an easy shot, but at least if you make it, at least shoot over my arm. But again, the players don't do that, and it comes both with Bud's defensive scheme, it comes both with the players on the court, because Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, these last 2-3 weeks, their effort on the court has been absolutely diabolical, and they're getting paid big money. Royce was meant to be a 3-and-D player, and his 3-point shooting has gone down, and defensively, he makes some dumb decisions. Sometimes he's doubling on players that don't need to be doubled. Sometimes he's closing out people when it's not his man, and after that leaves a player open. And again, some of that is down to Bud, and obviously he might be doing what Bud wants him to do, but also some of that is down to common sense. You've been in the NBA for 10 years. you should not be making these mistakes. Grayson Allen, he's not a natural defender, but sometimes when you're not a natural defender, you have to put that extra effort in. When you're not tall or when you don't have that size, you have to put that extra effort in. Sometimes I just see him walk to a player on the perimeter, he gets an easy shot up and it goes in, and I'm like, can you not jog? Can you not sprint? And if you sprint, then the player that's shooting the free, he'll think, okay, cool, maybe not, you know what, maybe I'll take a jab step and I'll go inside. And after when he goes inside, he's met by Plumlee, or he's met by Nick, or he's met by also, you know, he's met by someone taller. Even KD when he's playing at the 5, even Bo when he's playing, you know, he's met by someone taller, rather than giving up an easy free. But it's the nature of how this roster is constructed, and a lot of it comes down to Ishbia, James Jones, Josh Bartelstein, and we'll get to that when the end of the season comes, about what we need to do with them. But that game against the Grizzlies was poor. Luckily, we bounced back. And against the Kings, I believe we won by, what, an odd 20? We won 106 to 122. So a good win. And a lot of that comes down to the 2 rookies that came in and played. Ryan Dunn and also Iguodala. I'm going to touch on them a little later on. But just before we do touch on them, 16 points and 11 points for the pair of them. They combined for 27 points. Ryan Dunn, 4 steals, 5 rebounds, 2 of them being an offensive rebound. Also Iguodala, a block, a steal, 6 boards, and 1 offensive rebound, you know. I'll touch on them a little later on and how they can play a role in this season. But what they do is they give you the effort. That's what the rookies give you. They give you effort, they give you energy, they give you life. Even Colin Gillespie, obviously he's not a rookie, he's been in the G League for quite a while now, but he's much better defensively than Tyus Jones. And obviously Tyus had a great night last night. I'm not trying to slander what Tyus does when he's shooting threes and when he gets in his hot spot, no, but Tyus Jones defensively is a cone. And when you're playing Tyus, Grayson, Book, you know, KD and like Nick, for example, you have 3 cones. Booker can fight defensively, but he's not a great defensive player. Grayson Allen is a cone. Tyus Jones is a cone. And when you have players like Colin Gillespie, and Colin Gillespie, if you look at his numbers in the G League, his rebounding numbers for someone that's quite small is actually quite decent. We have to be playing these type of players in this moment, because right now we are in a very bad situation where we are in a very tough spot. We don't have the luxury to be losing games against the Raptors, against the Pelicans, you know. And we are lucky that, you know, we still have quite the large amount of our roster have been fit. You know, obviously Grayson is out, Nick is out, but we still have KD, Book and Bill. Bill will probably get a tweak sometime soon, but we still have KD and Book, and we're lucky. But just put out the right players on the court, and I'm telling you right now, the game against the Kings that we saw last night, we'll be seeing much more of them. The Lakers, our next game, they have Bron is out, Luka I think is out, Rui Hachimura is out, Jackson Hayes is out. That's 4 starters for them out. We have a chance to do something against the Lakers and build some form, build some momentum. And the Lakers, obviously, they're on a 5-game losing streak. They lost last night to Denver. Jamal Murray with a dagger 3 and Westbrook with a nice steal at the end to get a dunk. But these are the games that we have to win. We have to look at the teams that are vulnerable, and don't get me wrong, we're vulnerable as well. But when 2 teams that are vulnerable, you know it's going to be a good game. But you also know the team that does the basics are most likely going to win. And that's what the Suns haven't been doing. But when you get in players like Dunn, when you get in players like also Colin, you know, players that try hard, players that fight hard on defense, the players that make the right calls and make the right plays. Yes, they'll make mistakes, but 9 times out of 10, they will give it their all. And they will try their best. And, you know, that's what you need. And that's what we saw against the Kings. I think from the 3-point line, we shot, I think, our best that we've shot in a while. I'm pretty sure we hit 24 threes, and a franchise high is 25. So, you know, we were hitting our threes. Tyus Jones, 6 from 6 from threes, you know, he was getting into his spot. And the Kings are a bad 3-point defensive team. I'm pretty sure they're the worst team in the league when it comes to defending on the perimeter and defending those threes. So we knew we were going to get them looks. It was just nice that players were hitting them. But a win, we move on to the Lakers, build some momentum. That 10th seed should be ours with the amount of injuries that the Mavs have. But you never know with the Suns team. You never know with Mike Budenholzer. That's why I am not convinced that we even get this 10th seed currently. Moving on to Bradley Beal. Now, Bradley Beal is a player, you know, I feel like when we first traded him, everyone was excited, everyone was gassed. But recently he came out and said he has the best job in the world. He has, you know, he's playing in the NBA, he's getting paid, he lives in a nice weather, and he still has his no trade clause. And that kind of annoyed fans pre-game, and fans obviously have been upset with Bill for a long time. Not only because of his no trade clause, because again, that's directly not his fault. He got traded with that. Ishbia, James Jones, the front office, they knew he had that when they traded for him. So that's not directly for his fault. But fans are more angry that A, he's always injured, and B, that when he does play, he don't really give it his all. He's not really the build that we know from the Wizards, He's not that build that we know, and it is concerning that, he's come out and said this again. He said something during the trade earlier on in January, saying that, he holds all the cards. At the end of the day, it's his no trade clause. If he doesn't want to go, he can stay in Phoenix, and he's obviously his family loves Phoenix as well. So again, it is concerning. But if he is going to stay here for next season as well, but at least for the rest of this season, all you have to do is hustle, man. That's all we ask you to do. Hustle hard on defense, close out your man. We know you can make shots, we know you can hit threes, we know you can get to the paint, we know you can create your own shot. We know you have that nice midi, and like Bill has that nice stop-start motion where he could go and he stops, and he makes that easy midi. We know he can do that. But we just want to see it happen every single night. And in the biggest of games, when Durant is getting doubled, you could swing it to Book, and Book can swing it to Bill, and Bill's going to be open. Or when Booker's getting doubled, or when Bill's getting doubled, we have that luxury of having great players open and getting them open looks. But Bill just has to lock in. And it is annoying, it is concerning that, he has come out and said that. And fans are annoyed, fans are angry, and rightly so. As in, he's being paid £50 million a year. He's getting paid for time off. There's a new nickname, PTO Bill. Paid time off Bradley Bill. But again, we know what player he is, and if somehow, it can click in his head for him to say, you know what, I'm getting paid £50 million a year. The least I can do is show up for my teammates. The least I can do is show up for the organization. Then again, the Suns have a chance to make it into the playoffs. The Plains is going to be tough. Obviously, the Timberwolves, Clippers. Obviously, we've swept the Clippers in the regular season, but we've done that last year against the Timberwolves, and we got swept in the playoffs. But if we do get the Timberwolves, we're going to need Bill to step up, because ever since that playoff series against the Timberwolves, I don't think we've managed to beat them, and it has been tight games. And anytime Anthony Edwards comes to the Valley, he does seem to, take control of the court, But it is concerning that Bradley Bill can't step up when he's getting paid that much. I also do think that he will change in time. I also do think that if he can stay fit, we will see that Bill that we were seeing when he was coming off the bench and getting 20-30 points tonight, because he can give us 20-30 points tonight. It's just about him locking in, about his mentality, and him realizing what he's playing for. Moving on to the other two of the big three, I should say. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they need help. I'll be honest, I've said it so many times. This is an all-timer duo. They can combine for 60, 70, 80 a night, and they will still lose games just because the roster construction around them is poor. And it is quite sad that, Durant is gone in the summer. I think we know that, but it's quite sad that we haven't been able to build on them. Last night, Devin Booker with 22 points, 13 assists. Devin Booker is our best ball handler. He's our best point guard. He can create his own shot. He can play great passes. He plays passes that no one else can play. He loves his lob to Nick, or whether it's also, he loves, he's just Devin Booker is a pure hooper, and he's our best point guard. And when you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on the floor, anything is possible. Bud has to get it right around them. I've touched on Bud too many times, and to be honest, I thought that by now Mike Budenholzer would have been sacked or fired by Matt Ishbia already. Matt Ishbia done so much to trade for Kevin Durant. He done a lot to trade for Kevin Durant. And when you do that much to trade for Kevin Durant, in my head, what I'm thinking is, alright, cool. I've done this much to trade for Kevin Durant, and I know he's going to be leaving in summer. If we can't make the play-ins, is most likely down to Bud. Let me give it one last shot and let me fire him and get one coaching. But I'm surprised he hasn't done that. And fair enough, maybe he has the hope in Bud, or maybe he just wait until the summer to sack him. Who knows? But it is quite sad that we're not going to be seeing Kevin Durant and Devin Booker for much longer. So, anytime I do watch the Suns, and it is quite painful currently watching the Suns, I also do get that sense of peace that, you know what, I saw Kevin Durant play for my franchise. I saw him play, you know, a shit ton of games for my team. I saw him ball out. I saw him hoop out. I saw him bail us out. I saw him hit clutch games. I saw him trash talk all of these players. And it is nice when you do have Kevin Durant, and, you know, like sometimes he does like give that trash talk, and it's always not going to go his way, but at least he's not a front runner, you know. He don't do it when he's up. He will chat rubbish when he's down. He will chat rubbish when he's down by 20, because at the end of the day, it's Kevin Durant, and everyone looks up to Kevin Durant. All your favorite player is Kevin Durant, and it's a sad way to go out. Hopefully, we do make the playoffs, because I don't think he's missed the playoffs since 2013. Something crazy like that. He hasn't missed the playoffs, so I do think we'll get that 10th seed. Maybe we could get the 9th seed off the Kings. We still do have a tough run of games. We still have the Celtics twice. We have the Knicks. We have the Timberwolves to come up. You know, we have the Bucks. You know, we do have quite tough games, but luckily the Mavs, their season is over. We'll probably scam the 10th seed, and then we move on to potentially facing the Kings and either one of the Timberwolves or Clippers in the play-ins. But the verdict: do we make the play-ins, and do we make the playoffs? Do we make the play-ins? Yes. And I think we make the play-ins purely based on the fact that the Mavs are just not good and they have so many injuries. Do we make the playoffs? Now, it depends on who we get. The Kings we beat 100%. The Clippers we beat 100%. The Timberwolves, no. I do not think we beat them. I don't think we beat the Timberwolves. Obviously, I don't think we'll have to face the Timberwolves, because I think whoever the Timberwolves get so basically, the Warriors right now are the 6th seed. Then you have the Timberwolves, Clippers, Kings, and the Mavs, and then Suns. I think the Timberwolves beat the Clippers, so obviously we won't have to face the Timberwolves if that's how it ends. Then it will be the Suns versus the Kings. I feel like the Suns beat the Kings, and then it's the Suns versus the Clippers. And I feel like the Suns can beat the Clippers. Obviously, we've swept them in the regular season. It don't really mean much, but I do feel like the Suns will beat the Clippers, and they will get into the playoffs. But the Suns, as in the Suns will get OKC in the first round. I do not want to get swept again. Hopefully we don't get swept again. If we do get OKC, the only way we get a win is if Mason Plumlee, as in the same way the last 2 games he got ejected, he does a tombstone power driver to Shea, and Shea is out for the rest of the series. That's the only way we get through. If we get lucky, we could probably scam a game against the Nuggets in the 2nd seed, but I don't think that happens. I do think we get OKC, and I think we get out in the first round. I do think we get swept in the first round as well. It is concerning, but hopefully we don't. But hopefully Bud can somehow figure something out. Hopefully the players can figure something out. And if he gets the rotations right, anything can happen with this Suns team with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Because bear in mind, we were the 1st seed at the beginning of the season, and a lot of people had us maybe not winning it, but at least one of the contenders. Now, the roster hasn't changed. In fact, the roster has probably gotten better. Bud has just somehow lost brain cells. I don't know how he lost his brain cells, but he has lost his brain cells. If we can somehow fix up, if we could somehow lock in, if Bud can somehow lock in, anything can happen for the Suns. Even with a 1% chance, you know. I don't think we even have a 1% chance to go all the way. But to make the play-ins, to make the playoffs, let's take it game by game. If we could avoid OKC, then that will do absolutely wonders for us. Because the Nuggets aren't that good, even though they are the 2nd seed. The Nuggets are beatable, and I believe that a fully fit Suns team can take the Nuggets to a 7-game series if Bud can figure it out. But again, make sure to comment down your thoughts below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's try get that subscriber number up. Let's try build before we get into the playoffs. Obviously, if the Suns don't make the playoffs, I'll still be making videos about the NBA in general. But right now, we're just making videos on the Suns. But make sure to comment down your thoughts below on the Suns, the NBA in general, teams that you think that would win it. And if you have made it all the way to the end of the video, make sure to comment Suns in 4. Obviously, we're not going to get any game Suns in 4, but let's just comment down that. Let's just comment that down below, Suns in 4. But I've been Najib Talk Suns. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm out. Peace.